So you play very econ denial, you think, out of this deck?
Yeah, there's actually a deck build that Dan DiArgenio and I made where we did the whole idea was stall out the runner's early game and then do the normal kind of hybrid glaciary fast advance. Like almost like an NBN style, or not NBN, HB style deck.
Rush style. Yep.
Rush style. And then just use the advertisements to slow down the runner's early turn.
So, I mean, NBN by nature plays fast just because of the tools that it has, but how does Spark play against something like a noise that, can easily disrupt you if it gets the early viruses and the econ?
Well, you can start by putting 2 ads down.
That's always
and
good.
It looks like before the start of the runner's turn, he is going to res the advertisement, as I was just discussing, to drop noise to 4 credits at the start of his turn.
Because you can easily do your turn, install res, on their turn, res another one, drop them to 3 credits to start their turn, right?
3 credits to start their turn.
That's a pretty rough way to start.
Yep. Which doesn't sound as impactful as it is. So
2 credits is a lot.
We see a street peddler go down. We don't know what's on there.
I mean, the obvious disruption is you can't hedge fund one right away.
He didn't mulligan, and he does not have his draw engine in hand, except for he has the pancakes, he has adjusted chronotype, but he does not have the wild side.
Yeah, it's not going to do him a lot.
I would say you usually hard mulligan for.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the most important part of the deck. I think there's 2. I think it's a toss-up between Pawn Shop to get your econ going or Wild Side to get your draw going.
Personally, myself, and people can argue with me, which I'm sure they will.
Right.
But if I have Pawn Shop in hand, I will probably still mulligan that to try to find a wild side, because the draw noise really slows down if he has to click to draw cards.
Well, they also slow down a lot if you have to click for credits.
That's true. But wild side helps you find the Aesops again.
Absolutely, that's true.
Whereas the Aesops
doesn't help you, right, to find the wild side.
I might keep that hand if I have a street peddler where I can maybe pick the wild side.
Right. So Alex here, he's been denied 2 credits already, 3 credits.
Yep. And we do see that this is an Adonis variant.
Yep.
So depending on whether or not he's playing 2 or 3, that is a significant chunk of his influence being eaten up by the Adonis.
And I'm going to assume he's playing with the event that allows him to bring advertisements back into play.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, it's an obvious play in this deck.
I mean, you might not even need it. Realistically, in this deck, the runner is going to be so poor that they're not going to really be willing to go trashing assets. A lot of times they're just gonna, just say, you know what, you can have it, and try to outrace you on scoring.
Right. So clearly this deck plays very, very horizontal with the amount of advertisements that they play with.
Yeah.
So Imp.
I also appreciate that Chris has the same tokens that I do for credits.
So yep, you definitely Imp that Eve. Well, you think about it. Do you wait for them to res it and then Imp it? Or you just imp it immediately?
I mean, but it's going to cost you a credit when they res it. I think he made the smart play. The pad campaign's already resed. Chris is going to have to pay 5 if he wants to res that Eve to make Alex lose a credit.
No, I'm a little surprised. I know one thing that Armand is really big on is not letting, a runner get full usage out of him. So it's very common to just purge with 1 counter left on there, especially when you have a lot of assets like this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's necessarily super concerned, because once again, I think he'd be more concerned if the wild side was down.
Sure.
But since those runs to trash the assets, especially if it's the Eve that's not res, is going to cost him so much. So we do see an install advance into an unprotected server, so who knows what that could be. Oh, he brought out the clock.
So you're thinking breaking news, probably? Oh, and then he
installs
overrode over it.
Yep.
So it's probably breaking news I was trying to get pushed out.
Yep. So he is going to run archives.
Yep, there's a Jackson. Absolutely.
So it looks like there's a resistor, it looks like.
Yep.
And 2 things that I couldn't get a good look at.
It's like pop-up window. Wanderer's Thumb.
Fun fact, pop-up window is amazing in Spark.
You lose 2 credits.
Yeah, you lose 2 credits and I gain 1. Yep. It's one of the best value exchange.
Well, the nice thing is you res it on the runner's turn, so you're getting extra usage out of your card ability, too.
Right. And also, I would say, I wonder if this variant, if he's running product placement, a fantastic card that costs 0 that can also be rezzed on the runner's turn.
Yep, and it's an upgrade, so you can throw in a server on top of it.
Right, and the best part is that you can use it to disincentivize a runner from running a central. You can be like, sure, you can come into HQ.
Right,
All you got to do is let me have 2 credits.
Yep. No, I think it's... So it looks like Jackson off the top. He's going to let it sit. Doesn't have the money to trash it.
Is he going to use the imp counter?
You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with one Jackson already out, imping the other Jackson. I think that's fine.
He didn't do it, though.
No, he let it sit, which is kind of surprising.
I don't know if I agree with that play. After one Jackson being burned, getting rid of the second one is a huge windfall for Noise.
I agree. You know, having only one left in an entire deck, it's tough. So it looks like he used it on the Adonis instead.
No, he purged. Chris purged.
Oh, okay, sure.
So because now that he knows that the Jackson's there and he has it in hand, he doesn't want it to get picked out of his hand.
Yep. So
running the unprotected. It's an Ash. He hit an Ash.
So Spark plays a little glacier-y here.
I mean, it's very interesting. I've done a little bit of testing with it. I've done testing with both of these identities, actually. And Spark plays very much like a hybrid mid-range HB, where you're trying to get some chunky stuff and some things that make you money over time.
So what kind of ice are they really pushing behind?
Toll booths are always great.
Sure, absolutely.
Against Anarchs, Little Engine can
Of
be
course.
incredible, because if they're running
Fantastic
Faust, the money for them, if they do get it, is irrelevant.
Yep.
The cards is going to hurt them way more.
Yep, you're looking at what, five cards for Faust to get through that thing? I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane value.
So, Toll Booth, Little Engines with Ashes, just a lot of things that eat up a lot of credits just to make it so that you can beat them on the ashtrays.
Sure.
And to protect the Sand maybe.
Oh,
or
absolutely.
just rush agendas on Ash if you have to.
Yep.
One of the neat strengths of this deck is that since it does both Ash and Sands, if Clot is becoming a real problem for you, you can just outmoney the runner and rush behind an Ash.
Yep. No, that makes sense. I mean, literally, we've seen how quickly Spark Agency can make money.
And we're also seeing what happens. Noise is probably my favorite runner. I've been playing him for a very, very long time, and we're seeing what happens when he can't find the wild side or the Aesops early in the game.
Yep. Yeah, I've been there many times myself. I know that's my one dislike for Noise is if you don't get those pieces, I mean, you just flounder.
Oh yeah. It becomes very tough.
I mean, the deck plays poor, so without Aesops, you can't install anything you draw. You're just winning clicks to draw.
People were winning tournaments with versions of Noise that were not running Shurgamblers.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. The finals for the GLC Pro Circuit Tour. The winning Noise deck.
We're seeing a run on an unprotected
remote. Yep, I think Chris
actually.
is... looks like he's just rezzing the Eve.
He's rezzing the Eve, making him lose a credit.
Yep. So probably the end of Alex's turn he res him, then start of his turn. He's gonna res one. No.
Looks like he's taking back that Eve res.
I'm really confused. Okay. He's not resing the Eve. So
reverse the counts.
Yep.
Now it's important to note. Now, doesn't reverse the counts? Don't you have to have that exact number of credits?
No, it doesn't read like Tobu.
It doesn't?
It's up to 4.
It's up to 4, okay.
Yep, so that's that's one thing that's nice about reverse accounts is that it doesn't have to be multiples of 4.
So he does check archives?
No, he pulled that off top of R&D. Yep. Well, I mean, Chris has left it wide open. There's no reason for Alex not. I mean, he doesn't have anything else to do. He's broke.
I would love if this Spark deck was running some meat damage. I would love if he just came back with Seesaw Scourge, but he's not going to because he has Adonis.
I mean, City Surveillance is keeping him broke.
City Surveillance is so bad.
And you get multiples out of there, I mean, you're never going to have any money.
I'm guessing that he's probably playing at least one copy of All Seeing Eye.
I would think so.
Just so that if one of those tags eventually lands, he can just destroy the back line on an Anarch player.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, Noise doesn't have that back line currently.
No, he doesn't. No, I think Alex is just really I mean, the game is far from over, obviously. Chris hasn't scored anything out yet, but Alex is just, he can't afford to make any money. He's losing a credit every turn. I'm sorry, he's taking tags every turn.
And there we see the information overlord.
So 2 tags.
Strength 5.
Yep. So it's got 2 tags. So it's got 3 submachines.
Does he have a parasite in the trash? No, he doesn't.
Nope. So there we go. Yeah. Oh.
And he picks a global food. If you're gonna lose your whole rig, at least you can get a global food initiative.
One thing is, right now, I mean, there's nothing left on your board, so information overload isn't gonna stop you.
Right, but it does mean that he has to basically decide to just hammer R&D and just.
Oh, he can't steal
but
it.
he can't steal it. That's brutal, though. The loss of the clone chip.
Yep.
And what else did he lose there? He lost clone chip, data sucker, and he discarded the David at the end.
So again, I mean, Chris really hasn't had any opportunity to score anything yet.
No.
So really shoring up. Is that a pop-up window? I think that was a pop-up window. So Chris still really hasn't any way of scoring anything yet.
Yep,
so
there's
pop-up
a
window.
And pop-up keeps noise out
Yep.
because he has no credits.
Yep. But now if he wants to, he can just make a credit and run. I feel like Alex is a little flustered here right now. He's not getting what he needs. He's buried in tags.
Well, it's interesting, though, because the Spark deck hasn't been able to really set up either.
Right.
He hasn't been able to build a scoring server yet.
Yeah, he's not threatening anything here. So yeah.
There's the cash play. I didn't see what that was.
So killing the pop-up window, and then running R&D. Oh, why not?
Yeah, I mean,
You don't care if the cash...
why the not?
Yep, you don't care about cash.
And there's the ash that he can't afford to trash.
Yep. But I don't think he's really worried about it, Ash, at this point. I think his win is basically, making sure that nothing keeps him out of R&D and just hitting those agendas, just getting lucky and hitting the agendas on a seeing one card at a time.
Just keeping him poor.
So Alex is poor, buried in tags. It's kind of that feeling once you get out of school.
Right, yeah,
All
well,
those student loans, you just can't
Right.
afford to pay them back.
Right. Wild side can't go down now.
No, it's impossible. There's no way he's clearing any of these tags.
So he's basically decided to play with the money that he can get off of caches
Yep.
and what he can click up for, which is gonna. He's got the early lead, but that's gonna make it very, very tough for him.
Yep.
Early
So
on,
putting the Ash, yeah, absolutely.
which is gonna be very difficult for him to deal with.
Oh, it definitely is. So Alex is slowly getting locked out of this game.
Yeah, I would say that's 100% accurate.
You could easily just do click for 2 credits, run R&D, trash the Ash, and then run again, right?
Well, he's gonna need 3 credits to trash Ash.
Right, he has 1, it looks like, right now.
Yeah.
I think he has 1. He's checking archives.
No,
Looks like Jackson is being...
popping in a Jackson for the one agenda he pitched, and the pop-up and another piece of ice.
Yep. So it looks like Alex is sitting on 1 credit. So he could click for 2 credits, run the Ash, and then run R&D again.
Considering that Chris is playing the city surveillance, I would not be surprised if we see a Psycho Beal victory. Maybe that's his win condition, considering he's just passively putting on tons of tags.
Absolutely. I don't know if Chris expected to get this many tags piled on. I mean,
But even so, even if you can Psycho to score an Astro out of hand.
I mean, obviously the nice thing Chris has going in this game is that...
We see the all-seeing eye going in the trash, so that was definitely part of the plan.
Well, at this point, he knows that, Alex can't ever put anything on the board.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think this matchup is really, really good for Spark because Noise plays so poor.
Huh?
Noise plays very, very poor compared to most runner decks out there.
As long if he doesn't get set up, he has very little money. Once he's set up, it's not uncommon, especially if you're using Faust as your primary breaker, to be sitting on a mountain of credits.
Yep.
It's just really whether you draw those cards or not.
Like we talked about, this is what happens when you don't get the machine going.
So we do see an NAPD going back down behind a piece of ice and advance once.
Yep.
So we do see Chris trying to get on this board.
Well, right now it's realistically it's impossible.
We see an imp go down to accompany that lamprey. He runs archives to check it, trying to see if he can get something juicy to close out.
Yep.
He's not even going to try. He knows that's an NAPD.
Yep.
He knows that there's no way it would go down otherwise.
Realistically, the only thing he could do would be to imp it. And then, click for credits.
Right, but he also knows whatever that ice is, it's resible, and it's something he can't get through.
Right.
At this stage in the game, that's not going to be a data raven in front of that NAPD.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I think Chris is pretty comfortable now just pushing out agendas behind that server.
And he's not even going to finish the NAPD because he doesn't need to.
Yep.
He's just going to click for 4 credits and pass.
Yep, there's nothing you can do right here. The nice thing is Chris not scoring that agenda gave him time. So he got another credit gone.
Yeah, we're really starting to see the power of Spark here. People, when that ID was spoiled, they were like, "Well, what's 1 credit?"
Sure.
And runners are so rich.
But again,
But it can be impactful, especially when you consider that all the advertisements, with the exception of, or even product placement, but with the exception of pop-ups, they're all assets that need to be tracked.
Absolutely.
So you're basically increasing the trash cost of all assets by 1.
Right.
And that's incredibly impactful against most players.
Right.
The only person that's maybe not going to be really impactful against is a fully set up Cade.
Right. Well, and that's the thing about Cade is they have so much burst econ, and they don't play a lot of resources that getting tagged or losing the 1 credit, it doesn't impact them, I think, quite as much as something like
But you still have to be set up.
Oh, absolutely. So,
And he's and he's just rezzing more assets and making it so that Alex just has no money ever.
So Alex is just,
I think it would be safe to say at this point that he has an innumerable number of tags.
I think so. Nothing is. He's never been able to run R&D without something. So I don't know what he's going to do with that data.
Yeah.
He's just going for the mill right now.
City surveillance goes in the trash. He reses the product placement just to get rid of that last credit.
Yep.
Because why not?
Yep. I think Alex's game plan is really just draw for your viruses, mill a card, look at the card, and that's all he can do right now. It's a very slow game for him. So it looks like another NAP for Chris. I'm not sure if he drew into a...
Which he can just windmill that down.
Oh, absolutely. Yep, there it goes.
Yep, and he doesn't even have to advance it once. It's not going to get touched.
So,
Street Peddler going down. I think he's trying to see if he can get another copy of Fast.
Yep.
I don't know why there's only 2 cards on that Street Peddler, though.
Yeah, that's a little... There are only 2. It's a resource, so he could just crush it. So I'm a little curious. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if Alex realized he missed 1 card. It's going to end up getting trashed anyways.
Yeah, I can't imagine it wouldn't.
Chris is sitting on all the credits.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care about spending 2 here.
He's sitting on 15, 23, 25 credits to Alex's 2 credits.
Yep.
And it's pretty brutal. Yeah, and he's just going to trash it.
So again, I'm not sure why there's only 2 cards. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
There's the 3rd card. All right. Yep.
Because that's actually a very bad play for Alex, because those are options he'll never get to draw.
Right. And, he has 2 credits. We saw the parasite. I don't see why you couldn't just pop the parasite of the information overload.
Right. Just pop it immediately the second you install it, just to get it on the table.
You have the data sucker in play. You have plenty of... it looks like he stored up archives, so he doesn't really have any options to get more data sucker tokens. But.
Well, I think what Chris doesn't want is those random mills to cost him the game.
Right.
So he needs to make sure he has control over where Alex can run with his limited money, because Alex is just going to run recklessly.
Right.
So he needs hard end the run on all the centuries.
Absolutely. So Fox getting put down.
Astro just went into the hand.
Yep. So good spot here for Chris. Chris has been in a really good spot despite. So there's an Astro being scored.
He's got the token.
Yep. I think at this point, and Alex just needs to get really lucky with the mill and hit archive. It's really his only opportunity right now.
I mean, if he could get a medium down and just well, actually he can't because the information overload.
You have information overloaded, I'll uninstall it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, with Faust, at least he has access to archives if he needs to.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, at this state in the game, Alex is locked out. Didn't get the tools fast enough and lost control of the game despite having a little bit of early pressure on his side. And then now he's got the Aesops in his hand.
So quick for 3, and I think he wants to run, but that's what NAPD is, so...
He has to run it, but it's the NAPD.
Yep. Nope. And we froze a little.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a Windows-themed background,
absolutely,
that's a good one to have.
Pop-up window.
Yeah. Or window. There is the card.
There is the card window. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. That card ever see play?
I don't think it. I think it'll literally never see play. So in the intervening time, the other Astro was scored out of hand.
Yep. And looks like that NAPD is still there. Yep. Which has no chance of
the game is closed. There's no way in one turn that Alex can get enough, and it's a special order adding insult to injury.
Yep. And probably an Ash sitting on that. Oh no, that was his hand. I mean, Alex is just hoping he gets 2 agendas. And that's it. You think there's even 2 agendas in that hand?
No.
No, there's an Ash.
The game is unfortunately closed.
I agree. I don't think there's anything you can do here.
It's just a perfect example of Spark, like I said, being able to apply that early economic pressure combined with Noise not being able to get set up and just leading to him completely running out of steam.
Yep, so there it is. So there's the game. That was a good win by Spark. Alex didn't get the pieces he needed early, and the amount of advertisement that Chris was able to continuously put out really kept Alex poor the entire game.